Welcome to the next Tao in a Minute. Okay, so now we've gone through the first and second skills. We're going on to the third skill today. So let's recap what we've done. Our first skill was having a committed, deep understanding of the other person's world, a deep, heartfelt connection to their world and the language they use. Why? Because when one person in a relationship, whether it be a business, intimate, family, doesn't matter, when one person uses language to describe an event and a person does not have that language or uses different language, then instead of actually talking about what you're talking about, you'll instead go to being who's right, whose language is accurately describing reality, when in fact, neither of your language describes reality, but you're both doing your best to describe what in fact situation or object or whatever it is you're talking about. So, having a heartfelt understanding is you must learn the language, you must learn the terms, you must gain the interpreting and translating skills that the other person needs in order to be able to understand that when a person says, I love you, you know what that means, love. What does that mean to the other person? So if a person says to you, I just wish you could love me, well, what does that mean? To that person, it may mean to be able to overlook my insecurities, be able to overlook my sense of self-doubt. But to you, love may be doing all these wonderful things like cooking for that person and doing that person's laundry and taking that person out for a surprise dinner. And you say, I'm doing that as best I can. But to the other person who's dealing with self-doubt and self-image issues, well, maybe that actually goes to making them feel even more insecure. You see, you think you're talking about the same subject, but you're really not. And the next one is to make sure the other person gets their needs, to put that other person's needs first. This doesn't mean you sacrifice your needs. First, you have to even know what your needs are. But what you understand is that everybody does everything in the world, right? The most important thing you'll ever get in all of life is, what do people do what they do? Why? Simple, to get a need met. They're just looking to get their needs met. So, if you understand what their needs are, what they value the most, do they understand being connected? Do they understand being important to you? Do they really need like a lot of reassurance and security? What does that person need? It's vital, it's crucial that you understand that and make sure that that person gets their needs. Before you even worry about your needs, help that other person, because in the process of helping that person get their needs met, you'll often find that that's actually where you're going to get your needs met at a higher level and higher quality than ever before. So this brings us to our third skill. This, out of everything I'm going to teach you in this entire series on relationships, this is the one I hope you pay attention to. What is the most important, what is the meat and potatoes of all relationships? It doesn't matter what kind of relationship, what must be there? The answer is this: you must establish, create, and maintain core, deep down to the core of the person, trust and respect. How do you earn someone's trust and respect? You first give it. You trust that they are living their life to the best of their ability for the language and skill they have. And you respect that person, that they will work it out, that they are doing their best, and that they are only doing what they're doing because based on what information they have and understanding and way to describe that information, they're making the best choices. So there are disciplines, right? Every skill has disciplines. Here are the disciplines. The first discipline you need to have when you're creating core trust and respect is you first must show, uncover, and let the other person see who you truly are. You must be authentically and sincerely yourself. I know that scares the daylights out of most people, and as it rightly should. Most people don't understand. In Rome, if you went and did a Roman theater play, or you went to a Roman theater play, there may be 10 actors, but 30 characters in the play. So what they would do is they would have these masks that were wood that have different facial expressions and different paintings, and they were called personas. And these personas, the actors would switch them out, a different persona, and the actor would take on the different characteristics of that persona. Today we live in a world where people leave the persona on. People don't even show underneath the persona to themselves. There is no way to make it out of this life with sanity, with happiness, with success and satiation for this life if you can't be who you truly are. This is absolutely imperative. I work with my clients, my students, my patients, my disciples over and over again. The core of my work is helping people to get to this part, is to be able to allow and accept yourself to be who you are. Who is that? Well, in the end, it's really nothing. You're capable of being anything, which is why you really are nothing. But there are things that you value. There are standards, and we'll get into that in another episode. But whatever you choose to be your identity, your persona, you have to look and find out how you developed it, and then show that to the other person. And by showing to the other person, you'll start to see the things that no longer work for you. Maybe you've outgrown parts of yourself. Maybe there are parts you have still yet to invent. Those are all important things. But you must show and give that respect, give that trust to let the other person know who in fact they're dealing with. Because if you don't, it's like some days going to the drive-thru. You order a Big Mac and you get to the drive-thru, you get your box and you drive away and you open it up and it's a burrito. You didn't order a burrito, you ordered a Big Mac. People get that. It's called the bait and switch. They wake up thinking, I'm going to wake up to this person, and in fact they wake up to somebody totally different. Why? Because you have a hard time displaying your authentic self. So, that's the first discipline, is learning to be who you are. Learning to give that authentic self. Sometimes you're not in the humors or the mood to deal with certain things. Great. Sometimes you are. But knowing that, knowing your rhythms and knowing your cycles helps you then to better understand the other person's, but also to better communicate what you need at the moment. The second, you must always, always, always assume that the other person is doing their best. There are no conspiracies. There are no, plots out to get you. That the other person is not living their life just to make you mad, just to make you upset. That is a fallacy that ruins more relationships than you can imagine. No one is out to get you. They are only doing that because there's a need that they need, and that need is based on whatever limited information they have. You being who you are, and always assuming the best, always assume they're doing their best, then leads to the third discipline. The third discipline is this: you must allow them to be who they are. No color commentary, no critiquing or judging somebody. You can't influence or love somebody and judge them at the same time. It's impossible. You have to allow people to be who and what they are. And when you do that, and you always assume that they're doing their best, and you're constantly encouraging them, you watch how watering people with that kind of love, that kind of authenticity, that kind of permission to be free in their own world, you watch how they grow in such ways you'll be astounded. So that's the skill, to create, uncover, and maintain core trust and respect with the other person, and they're the disciplines. Be yourself, always assume they're doing their best, and allow them to be themselves. Do not stack the past against someone. The person they were and the person they want to become, a person can never become who they want to become if they're constantly living under the weight of who you believe they were when they created an offense to you. Okay? So, this is it for this segment. We always go a little bit long on these, but they're so very worth it. And I hope you always take the time to watch these. Go back and watch them again. If you want, click like or share and have this conversation with other people. You can create a lot of dialogue and help to really create this understanding with people in every facet of your life. If you have any questions, you can always email me at lau@fourdragonschool.com, and I'll be happy to answer anything you'd like. Until then, we'll see you next time on Down in a Minute.